It's been a hard day's night and I've been working like a dog, and I think over the next 2 hours we need to hear some great music. Hello everyone, I'm Nick Haynes.
And I'm Christy Veach, and me and my yellow submarine are going to take us on a little ride, and then maybe I want to hold your hand later on.
You can't buy my love, Christy. No, you cannot, because ladies and gentlemen, yes, we're going to be hearing the most phenomenal Beatles music, because over the next 2 hours we have for you the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute band to the Beatles.
And
it's
these
all
guys
coming
are
your way.
amazing. They're absolutely amazing. I was talking to people about it earlier today and said, you are not going to believe how much not only do they look like, because it's easy to look like a Beatle, but to sound like a Beatle, I mean, and wait till you hear their music, because you will be totally blown away.
It's not only the look, it is the sound, the way they hold the instruments, it is everything. And we have two of the Beatles with us in the studio. That's also coming up along week 7. How did it all begin, Ron?
How much time do you have?
How about 30 seconds or less for me?
You mean for us?
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause I assume you know the story of the 60s.
Well, it started
and the
in
real
1960s,
Beatles.
absolutely, in a place that I came from. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You're from England, aren't you?
Absolutely. From Wales, just next door.
You're not a Scouser, though, are you?
No, I'm not for a Scouser.
All right, well, very good. No, we started in Los Angeles. I met our bass player, Artie, who performs as Paul McCartney, and he was doing a song by Paul McCartney called Coming Up, and literally the hair on the back of my neck stood straight up. I couldn't believe how much he sounded like Paul McCartney, and we got together and formed the Fab Four there in California.
The Los Angeles Times called you the ultimate tribute band to the Beatles. And that is huge praise. The Los Angeles Times, if you've ever read it, is an incredibly critical newspaper.
They are.
And so that's the massive praise. But one of the things they said was you're not only playing the same guitars, it's the strings, and everything you're doing is so accurate. It is not only the way that you look, the way you hold the instruments, but even the costumes are exact down to every patch.
They are. We studied all the Beatles had these crazy patches that the Wells Fargo people gave them when they were at Shea Stadium in New York. And also, yeah, the instruments, and we're one of the only groups that plays everything live on stage as well. A lot of groups will have some guy in the back, some fifth Beatle or something, or playing. It's very popular to play to a tape or something like that, and we don't do any of that. We're 4 guys, we play everything live on stage, so everything that you're hearing is being performed live.
Now, when you see the show and you see the audience reacting, what was also interesting to me is you've got children there. It seems like even 8-year-olds in the audience. These are people who never lived through the period of time of the Beatles. What's the attraction?
Well, that's true. None of us in the group are actually old enough to have an original Beatle memory, but it is true. People who grew up with the Beatles and their kids, and sometimes their kids. It's really amazing. I think it's just that great music. Everybody loves the Beatles. Everybody loves a good love song, a good song about peace, and I think that's what the attraction is.
But did you ever, Paul McCartney's still alive, Ringo Starr is still with us. Have they ever seen one of your shows?
Not that we know of.
Not that you know of, okay.
No, but Gavin has a good story about Paul McCartney. Maybe he'll tell you.
Hey, well, we're going to go over to them in a moment. But again, you have the...
Hi, Gavin.
Hello.
This is Gavin Pring. Gavin portrays George Harrison, and you are phenomenal in your role, honestly. I mean,
Thanks very much.
What's even better is you don't even have to fake the accent, do you?
No, I don't actually. I was born in the hometown of the Beatles, and I don't remember them because I wasn't born when they were around at the beginning. But I'm around now.
That's great. That's great. We're glad to have you around. We're glad to have you here at KCPT. So talk about, Ron just talked a little bit about what got your band together.
Right.
And I will call you a band because you are performing. You're not just, faking it and like, hey, like on Partridge Family or anything.
Like concert. It is a concert.
Right.
It's live.
You're really performing and everything, and you're in character, but you're playing your instruments and everything. But talk about your first introduction to the Beatles, maybe when you were younger.
When I was younger, I listened to a song back in the USSR, and I had a cassette. Do you remember the cassettes?
Yeah.
Not the 8-track ones, but the actual cassettes, the McNeil cassettes. And I had the White Album, and my cassette player would finish and then start the other side automatically. And I was about 14. I was on a school night, and I just put it on, and I literally from 9 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock the next morning, that battery ran out, and I listened to the White Album from start to finish.
Wow.
And I was just hooked from then on.
Did you ever think that you would be portraying George Harrison on stage?
No, I didn't go to a careers advisor and say, "Can I be a Beatle for a living, please?" No, I just kind of fell into it. My auntie always said, "Oh, Gavin looks a bit like George," and then there was a girl in school, and she said, She said, I really like the Beatles, but if I could kiss any of them, I'd kiss George. And I went, I'm George. I am George.
There you
Kiss
go.
me.
Now, one of the things Ron said too is about you had an encounter with Paul McCartney.
That is true, yeah. When George unfortunately passed away, Liverpool did a tribute to George. This was a couple of months before the actual big concert for George with Eric Clapton. And there were rumours that Paul was going to turn up. And I was like, oh, he's not going to turn, it's not going to happen. I said, Paul's going to come down, see, all these bands playing tribute to George. But he did, and he turned up and he said, you look a bit like George, actually. And I said, you look like Paul. And he hugged me, and then he said, George would have loved what you guys are doing tonight.
That's great. That's great. That is the highest honor I think you can receive for the work that you do. And
I was here last year, and we had the audience that came down last year were absolutely fantastic. And so they set the bar pretty high, actually. So this year, we hope that they go even crazier. Because that would be almost impossible because they were so great last year.
Now, do you ever change the numbers in the show and maybe bring something in that you haven't done before? Would there be anything maybe a little different from this year to last year?
We were thinking of actually bringing in an actual walrus, from the zoo. And bringing it in and just like having it come across the stage, but the liability costs were too high. So
I'm with Ron again. Ron, you were in Cincinnati just before coming to Kansas City.
That's right, last night, just a few minutes ago. With the time change, it seems a little bit longer, but...
So you've gone from Cincinnati to Kansas City, and then, because you travel all over the world, so Cincinnati to Kansas City, and where did you go next?
We have a practice in LA, and then we go to Japan.
Okay, so this goes very quickly for you. So they go all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. So this is an opportunity for you to see the Fab Four. You go to Australia, New Zealand. You are literally all over the world. Malaysia, I see on.
Not at the same time, but yeah.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely, this is a band that is really in high demand.
Yep. Because if you see me outside when I'm going, I don't say anything. It's the only chance I get to talk, really, you know what I mean? If I see people and they're like, Gavin, I just keep walking, I don't say anything. But if it comes to the meet and greet, I will talk for hours.
Now, this is no act. Gavin is from Liverpool.
Yep.
So he's not putting this on. We were just talking about different British words and how Americans give us a hard time.
They do give us a hard time.
Things like aluminium.
Aluminum.
Absolutely.
Aluminum, man.
Aluminum versus aluminium and things like that.
Aluminum, and the first time I got in the car, I wanted to sit in the passenger seat and I had the wheel in front of me. I'm like, what's this all about? Because
it was on the wrong side of the road. Because we drive on the right side of the road.
We drive on the right, but it's the left.
The correct way.
The correct way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're fabulous. No, this is really authenticity to the max here. Authenticity to the max. So you also do multiple costume changes. Also, something that happens in the show, which you're not seeing tonight, is Ed Sullivan makes an appearance.
He does. We have a big box, and he just jumps out of it and scares people in the audience. It's like, who's that? And it's like, poof, Ed. No, he comes out at the beginning, and obviously in England, as you know, you're a neighbour to Liverpool.
Absolutely.
The Beatles story started earlier than the American story. The Beatles story started when they kind of went to Hamburg and they did the Cavern Club, and then they took over Europe, and then they eventually got to the States. They were trying to crack that nut of the States. Let's get in there. And but the American story starts on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's when the Americans, were sitting around having some. They weren't having tea. We had tea. They had coffee.
Yes.
I'll have a coffee and watch Ed Sullivan, and that's when the Beatles. So the story starts there, and that's where our story starts.
Yes. So is there a difference in the audiences, though, where you go from one part of the country to another?
It differs more country to country. Really.
Tell me about that, because you go into Japan.
Yeah, well, I've played South Korea before, and it's pretty similar. Kind of, it's in the Asian, part of the world. And what happened when we played in Korea was no one clapped for any of the songs.
Really?
Yeah, honest to God. And then at the end...
How disconcerting.
I know, you're playing like, I think it sounds okay, And then what happens is they all went away, and then they came back and they brought gifts.
Oh my
And he said it was the best thing. And then you play to the Canadians, a bit more reserved. You play to the Canadians, and then eventually towards the end of the show, and then everyone's on the feet. But the Americans, as soon as you go, oh yeah...
Yes, as one does. Yes,
it's
absolutely.
Like crazy.
Yes. Okay. And you're also going to enjoy a concert, and what a great gift for somebody.
It's a great gift. I mean, Valentine's is over, but I'm sure there's something around October. You guys have holidays every other week. Like, what week is it now? It's President's, Vice President's Day.
Absolutely.
There's always an extra thing.
Yes, and Team America is now here.
That's right.
Yeah,
now listen, I want to let the viewers know that's why we don't let Gavin drive. don't let him drive. Not because he's on the wrong side of the road, but because of the. We're not
That
gonna let him
is
drive.
awesome. But is it just like you're living a dream sometimes?
It is. I think I'm dreaming now because of the time change. I think I'm. No, it really is. I mean, growing up, I never thought I could be a Beatle. Who would thought the Beatles were the Beatles, right? But my dad, as a very young lad, my dad took me to a show called Beatlemania, which kind of started the whole thing off, the whole impersonator thing. And I looked at 4 guys who weren't the Beatles, but were being very close to the Beatles. And I thought that'd be a great job. And here I am doing it. So it is. It's a great job. And if you talk to any musician, anybody from from that era on who saw the Beatles, and not only just musicians, but we've talked to people like Tom Hanks and people who just that moment of the Ed Sullivan Show changed their lives and realized that they wanted to be in show business. But we've talked to the guys in Kiss, the guys in the Monkees, everyone just wants to be a Beatle. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. What was the most challenging part for you of taking on the John Lennon persona? I mean, obviously you're a talented musician, but did you like learn piano but you already had the guitar or anything like that?
There's a lot of different things, obviously. It's a lot of different things to be someone else, first of all. But yeah, I knew how to play already a little bit of guitar and a little bit of piano, but John also played harmonica. And, he's talking like that and, I had to fall in love with a Japanese girl. It was crazy, but no, we took on a lot, but it's a labor of love. We watched all the Beatles films, A Hard Day's Night, Help, and like Gavin was saying, Magical Mystery Tour and Let It Be, and all those different things to try to get their personality. But we read up a lot about the Beatles and studied their movements and those different things.
Well, it's uncanny, and that's the word that keeps coming up. And I have to tease the next segment a little bit, even though we're not ready to go there yet.
There you go. Spoiler alert.
I know. Okay. Imagine starts off the next segment, and it is goosebump inducing. That's all I gotta say. Not to set the bar too high, not to set anyone's expectations too high, but it's an amazing impression that you do.
Thank you so much. And it is a great song, and it capsulizes what John wanted for the world about peace and love and togetherness. And I think it's not a Beatles song. A lot of people think it is a Beatles song, but because it was so close to John and what he meant to the world, that we decided to include it in our show, and it's so important, his message to get across.
Well,
na 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 na, hey Jude.
Oh, fantastic!
That was
They
fun.
were great. They were
that
fantastic.
Was very good.
Hey, welcome back. We've been told to say a few things to you.
Actually, they've asked us to sing, but see, the problem is we need a drummer, don't we?
Yeah, we can't do it with just the 2 of us, can we? We probably need another person, but
what do you reckon we should do?
What do we do about it?
Hold auditions or
Hold
something.
an audition, maybe get someone who kind of looks like a Beatle. We need someone who looks like a Beatle.
Hey, hold on a minute. Look at that.
Oh my God, he looks exactly like Ringo.
Hey, Jude.
Oh,
Just the dog lovers now. Just the dog lovers. Okay, just the cat lovers. Meow, meow,
what do you think? I think it's Peter and Gordon. Is that you look a little bit more
come
like?
on, it's all in the packaging. I thought I had it. I thought I had it, guys.
I don't know. Can you play drums?
I have to do that.
No, our drummer doesn't either.
Our drummer doesn't do it.
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't either. Oh, come on.
He's not the best drummer in the Fab Four, is he?
No, he's not.
You are.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome
How's it going,
back.
Christy?
It's good.
Team unity again. We've
yes.
split up the American Brits again.
That's fine. I think
okay.
we can all get along. We can all get along.
Yep.
So we've enjoyed having you here so much tonight. And you guys are going to be here for a little bit longer, of course, right?
Yeah, we're going to be here for another couple of weeks. We're not leaving. They said they were going to lock us in and we're going to grow some moustaches and stuff, you know.
We've enjoyed having you here. And
public television in America is definitely worth supporting. You know, I find a lot of TV programming over here is, if you pardon the expression, like dumbing down. You know, it's all about entertainment. Oh, entertainment. Who's married to who with what daughter? And it's like, well, what happened? What's the economic situation over in Africa? What's happened in the history? What happened in World War II? You know, what's happening to a lot of these, educational programs? They just seem to be dwindling. At least KCPT and other public services actually, educate people, and that's kind of what we're after, isn't it? Educating the people, the uneducated, and getting them, on their feet and making decisions and making the country stronger. That's what it's about for myself, because I have an American son now. He's born 3 years ago, so he's an American now. So he'll be like, "Hey, Dad, what's going on, man?" I'll be like, I'll be like, all right, mate. And he'll be like, you know.
So now by Ron, who's got off the phones. Were you taking phone calls?
Yeah, I was. I got a few credit cards. I'm going to go on eBay later. It's really funny.
Yeah. What do we need?
I'm
What do we
joking.
need?
I'm joking. No, a lot of people pledging, and that's really good. It looks like there's only a couple tickets left, so we're real excited about it. Really looking forward to October 5th.
So they're going to be there. Gavin, what else was there?
Just make sure your shoes are clean, because it's always good to have clean shoes. And, you know, just respect your neighbours. Don't have your cell phones on, you know, and just listen to the. You won't anyway, unless it's Hey Jude on your ringtone or something, and then, you know. I haven't got anything else to say, to be honest.
No, that's fine. Christy Veach, you are incredibly kind for coming in as well, volunteering at KCPT.
And beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And the folks at Abuelos are wonderful because they provided our food for this evening. So thank you.
Orale, abuelos.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone who's supported us tonight, thank you so much. If you're already a member of KCPT, thank you too. I'm Nick Haynes. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the best of the Beatles, the Fab Four. We look forward to seeing you on October 5th at the Midland Theatre downtown.
Yep.
It's going to be a great show. Thanks, guys. Thanks
Looking
for
forward
being
to
here.
it.
Bye.
Good night.
You know I feel